Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the Blue Boy podcast. Rob Man here. Happy President's Day. The weather's not too great here in Florida on President's Day. It's been it rained all yesterday, and it's been super windy and a little bit. There's been just like a little bit of not really rain, but just a lot of moisture in the air. So I'm hoping that, all the wind and everything's not going to affect the quality of the video too much. But if it does, sorry about that. We've got our new setup here with the pop mic. So we're just seeing how that works. And I like the way the last video turned out. The audio is obviously not as good as the other microphone, but it is what it is. But anyway, we got our cigar. We got our coffee. We're ready to make a video. Okay. All right. I recently saw this new headset that came out by Apple, the Apple Vision Pro. It was making me think about the way things are. All right, it's bright out here. It made me think about the way things are going. Way things are going to progress into the future. And what a better day than President's Day to think about the future of America and where things are going. What's it all going to look like? Now, right now, this thing just makes you kind of look like Ready Player One. It makes you look like a weirdo walking around. There's a novelty to it. I watched a few videos of people walking around. Most people are just intrigued by it. They're like, oh, what's that? Or, oh, I saw one of those. Or, oh, yeah, that's too expensive for me, because these things are really expensive. They're like thousands of dollars. I think I was looking it up. I was looking it up. I think it's like $5,000 or something crazy like that. But the headsets, like VR headsets and stuff, they've just been in the realm of the weird and nerdy for a long time. They've been in the realm of just, people are not really. It's not really something that's been taken too seriously. There's been some video games developed around this stuff. I remember when but the big thing that this headset takes advantage of is the augmented reality, right? So that was the big thing that made when Pokemon Go came out. That's the big thing that made that game really popular, right? Was you were going to walk around in the real world and you're going to see a Pikachu there, you're going to see a Charmander, you're going to see all these Pokemon. I remember I was working at a restaurant at the time, and I was in the back, and I just downloaded the app, and I pointed my camera at the counter, and there was a Squirtle standing on the counter, and I was like, oh my God, there's a Squirtle standing on the counter. And then after work that night, I just walked up and down the streets of Nashville, Tennessee, catching Doduos, and it was pretty amazing. And the implications of these things are both frightening and amazing. It's scary. It's fascinating. There's a lot of benefits, I think, that are going to be to it. There's a lot of things that are really it's just problematic. Just looking forward, I don't. And the real question in my mind when I've thought about it: do the pros outweigh the cons on this one? This weather is just awful. It's just terrible. It's windy. It's cold for what Florida is usually. It's like in the 50s right now. It makes you just feel colder because it's just blowing all over the place. One of the big things that, I think about and I advocate more for is just to get off your phone. We're on our phones so much. It's already something that's super prevalent. It's trying to get your attention every 5 seconds. And one thing that I saw somebody point out was these headsets have been proposed for years. I remember when my cousins at a garage sale, they got the Nintendo VR. It was this VR contraption looking, like it was like a red thing, and when you looked into it, I think it was like there was like a tank game that you would play. It really looked really crappy. It was fun for like 5 seconds, and then you were done. They've been trying to perfect this stuff for a long time. And he was talking about, eventually they're like, why are they so caught up in making this work and making it to something that is like cool. It's cool. It's cool to wear it. Everybody's wearing VR. Everybody's wearing their headset. Everybody's in the like the metaverse, right? Everybody was talking about the metaverse when that came out. That everybody's gonna be in a virtual reality. Nobody's gonna be in the real reality anymore. Everybody's gonna go work in this place. You're gonna own real estate in this place, whatever. Look, all of these things didn't go away. It was just a little too early for it. It didn't make sense at the time. It still doesn't make sense. There was a lot of people when this guy was walking around with the headset on, and he was like they were like, I don't want to wear that. Like, that looks stupid. But that's not what they're working towards. They're working towards getting you used to letting go of reality a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and letting go of control, letting go of not being spied on, letting go of not, having just like apps show up everywhere, advertisements. I mean, could you imagine, it's like something straight out of Black Mirror, where you're like walking around and then a Coca-Cola ad pops up or something on your refrigerator when you're trying to grab your milk, and then you got to wait for the ad to go away unless you get the ad-free version to where you can just grab your milk out of the fridge or whatever it is. Trying to turn life into an app. They're like, how can we, it's always, the question's always, how can we monetize life? Because eventually what they're going to want to do is they're going to want to make this so sophisticated that it's not a headset anymore. Like, it's like contacts or whatever it is. You don't even see it, or an implant. I know they've been doing implants recently. Smoked down this stogie a little bit, so I'm going to take off the wrapper. This is one I've had in my humidor for a little while. I didn't try it, but it looked good. It's called Perla Del Mar PDM Maduro. As you all know, I really like Maduros. And I'm not really familiar with this company. I just saw it. I think I was at like a cigar shop in Tampa at the time or something, and it looked appealing to me. So we're taking off the wrapper of this one. Nothing really special about this. But that's not a bad thing. It's smoking like a Maduro, and I like that. It's pretty dark. Something you definitely, especially in the bigger sizes, would want to take your time on. But I usually smoke the Robusto size. So, I usually get about 45 minutes to an hour out of my cigars. And that's pretty much what I like. That's the nice thing about cigars. Everything's about your preference. But anyway, back to this headset. So imagine a world where everything is questionable. Everything that you see could be augmented. Everything could be, as if life's not beautiful enough, it's not good enough. We've been trying to innovate. Like that's the problem, is we never know when it's too far. So we're going to innovate ourselves into oblivion eventually. That's what I think. I mean, we still don't even really know the implications of cell phones on children. And I see a lot of parents giving their kids cell phones at way too young an age, I think, to be exposed to all the information in the world. You could put parental controls on it, but guess what? Your kids, they're smart, okay? When you were a kid, you figured out how to get around things and how to get in trouble, and they're going to do the same thing, okay? And they're growing up on the internet, so they've got an unlimited access of people who are able to tell them exactly how to get past all of your little safeguards and things that you think are going to stop them from getting into this stuff. The problem is once the world goes a certain way, there's a certain amount of time where you can not participate until you can't. For example, with my job, if I decided I just didn't want to have a cell phone, well, that just wouldn't work. Because it's a part of my job. I have a work phone that I have to have on me. There's certain applications I have to use for my job. With my job, it's mandatory to check your emails. If I want to work an extra shift or something, I have to have my phone on. It's become integrated into your life to where you just can't get away from it. And eventually, this is what this is. This is a novelty right now, but eventually, it will be the norm. Everybody, this will be integrated into your life. It already kind of is in ways that you don't pay attention to with your cell phone. But eventually, everything you do could be someday recorded. It's kind of nuts. It's kind of crazy. I think a lot of people, they don't want to think about this stuff. They just, oh, it's cool. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with wanting to have fun and have an experience and experience life. But I think that's the whole point of what I'm getting at, right? You want to experience life. I want to experience it the way it's meant to be experienced. Actually, the more things we innovate too, the more difficulty is removed. I mean, difficulty for like mathematics, for example. I'm not doing mental math for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still one of those people. I'll like count, like if I'm like at a restaurant and I'm like, oh, how much is the tip and everything? I will count on my fingers. You know what I mean? Most of the time, if it gets beyond that, I'm getting out my calculator. Well, your calculator is going to eventually be your thought process, because I love when I'm talking to somebody and we can't just have like a nuanced conversation like we used to. Immediately, like, the type of person you're talking to them, and then they're like, I don't think that's right. Let me Google that. And then they go and Google whatever it is. God forbid embellishment exists, right? Well, you're not going to be able to embellish anything, because everything the wind's blowing. I don't know if this is going to mess up the auto, but everything you do, everything you see, eventually it's going to be able to be recorded in, and all the data that you share right now, like if you have a smart TV or your laptop or your phone or applications, like freaking, like, I don't, if you watch Netflix, they want to pay attention to what you're watching. If you even, if I talk about a boat, I don't really necessarily have an interest in boats right now, but if I talk about boats enough, I'm going to start getting ads for boats on my phone. That is what this is allowing. There's obviously going to be positives. You know what I mean? Like, I think about like for like firearms training, this could be great. Having augmented reality training where you can go through and you wear a headset with it's scenarios that can go on, because one of the things that's definitely, like, I saw some of the programs you can run. There was one where like a T-Rex, and the person was like, it just felt like it was like right there in front of me. That's going to give you a more realistic sensation of what you would do in an emergency scenario, or what you would do, putting you into situations. It's kind of like a tutorial on a video game, right? But you're going to actually be able to do that. That is crazy. That is, and there, like I said, there are cool applications, especially like for video games and things like that. But it doesn't stop there, and that's what people have to realize. If you think that this is the novelty of it is all, like, there's a reason why this is being pushed. There's a reason why they want this. This gets quoted to death, and it annoys me because I have to hear it so much, but it's true. Of when they said you'll own nothing and be happy. Well, if you can simulate art in your home, and you can simulate decoration, you can simulate having a yard or something. Like, you remember, like in Back to the Future, they had the screen and it was like the viewing channel where you can view your outdoor views or whatever it said. But this goes beyond that, because it's going to actually be in your eye holes. it would definitely make things like Pokemon Go more interesting. I'll tell you that. But even this right here, right? So I have a little notebook that I started. I've been trying to write in it. Haven't been doing the best, but trying to fit it into my daily life. And it's a part of it was having like notes on my phone was just not the same as just getting a book out and writing this stuff down. So I'm keeping myself on track with my video here, horribly, but I'm keeping myself on track with my video here by actually writing it down and looking in this book, which is this is things that are just going to go away. The physical world is going to go away, and like I said, I'm really worried about the implication this has on young minds. Somebody was talking about how people can make themselves look however they want. So we could potentially be in a world where you can't trust your own eyes anymore. What is something like this going to do to personal contact? How we relate with each other, how we speak with each other? Because in my opinion, things like text messaging and stuff have already radically changed the internet and applications, dating apps, social media. It's all radically already changed how we communicate, how we talk to people. So where is this, like, how much more would this affect that? You know, eventually, it's so funny because that movie Idiocracy, the older it gets, kind of the more accurate it gets, because it's showing this world where mankind is so reliant on technology and everything just being given to you that eventually you're just an idiot drooling in front of your television set who thinks that you have to water plants with Gatorade because companies told you that to sell their stock. And so while this could be really cool in a lot of ways, as most innovation, you know what I mean? And I'm sure I sound like some like old person that didn't like cars back in the day, or some old person that decided they didn't like television, or all the things that come. But you have to realize that I think as living biological creatures, there's a certain amount that we're supposed to exist in reality. The further we remove ourselves from that, the more negative implications that's going to have. I mean, social media and cell phones have already had a negative impact on people's lives, on children's lives specifically. So if I were to have like a thought on this of, is this a good thing or a bad thing, I'm going to lean mostly bad. Honestly, just mostly bad. Almost everything already that's been created has been found a way to sort of take advantage of you. And I don't think this is going to be any different. I mean, let's think about, like, something I like to think about a lot is, like, when I'm an old man, what is going to be the sticking point for me where I'm like, these kids these days and their fangled robot arms, you know what I mean? Like, I always think about that. I'm like, what is it that's going to make me old to where I'm like, no, this, and I'm going to push back. I'm probably already there, to be honest with you. You know, the more all this stuff progresses, and really ever since COVID, it seemed like something's been lost. Something about the old world has been lost, and it's not coming back. And what can we do? Because, like, once this comes into the mainstream, once it comes into like my career, once it comes into something where it's like, because there's always that transition period where, like, listen, we're rolling out this new technology, but you don't have to do it, but it's there. But that's always just transitioning you into, no, you're going to do this. At some point, you're going to be expected to do it. But at the same time, as like one person, what can you do? I think we need to be on our cell phones less. I think we need less augmented things in our lives already. So the more you can get outside, the more you cannot have these things, the better you're going to be. I remember this one guy, I think it was like a couple years ago, I watched him. He tried to live in the metaverse. So he had the Oculus Rift or whatever. And he just tried to live in virtual reality for a week, and it was just miserable. A lot of it was because it was a headset. He was tethered to his computer because of a cord. Like his room was full of Domino's pizzas and shame, and it just led to this sort of sad existence. It's something I feel similar. Like if I play video games too much, which I try not to do anymore, but anytime I've ever stayed in my house too much, played video games too much, and not made a point to have a human interaction or be around people, I mean, really, life thrives off of order and chaos, and we just keep trying to bombard life with order and to master life. One of the best stories I think ever that really tackled this was Jurassic Park. Also, this video, there's going to be lots of wind probably. There's going to be a lot of points where the audio sucks because the wind's blowing. But guess what? I'm outside, I'm in nature. So if it ruins my video, whatever. This is a part of life. This is a part of it. Not every day is going to be beautiful weather out, right? But that whole idea of I saw Tucker Carlson say this recently, and I really liked it. I like to be around people who realize they're not God. Okay, realize that there is a God, there is something bigger than us, and that they're not it. You're not it. You are in control of almost nothing. So I like that. That really speaks to me. You know, obviously, they try to control nature in Jurassic Park. They try, and if you ever read the book, they have an iteration that keeps getting more complicated to show chaos throughout the book. I would highly recommend reading the book of Jurassic Park, not just watching the movie. And eventually, the iteration gets so complicated, it's out of control. You cannot control it. That's what life finds a way, as Ian Malcolm says. Life finds a way. That's what I hope. As much as more control comes in, it's harder to buy houses now. It's harder to make your own little corner of things. It's harder to not be on the grid and engrossed in all of this stuff that we have to deal with. As much as of that as there is, I just really, really, really also think that there's going to be a lot of people out there that are like, no, I want to have trees. I want to have national parks. I want to have places I can go. I want to breathe the air. I want to have the reality. You need it. This is what we were born into. You need it, you know? I'm sure there's some future ahead of us where technology advances so much that all that goes away. And let me tell you, I hope that's super far away. I really do. And a lot of people might say, well, you're thinking way too heavy into this guy. Well, that's the whole point of this channel, though, is to sort of be more philosophical, think about these things, think about the implications, but also just enjoy your life, embrace it, because you can't control. I can't stop Apple from making this. I can only just say where I see things going, what I think is going to happen. No more than I could control. I hate the Disney Star Wars movies. I have no influence over that. I'm really worried about the X-Men show that's coming out, the X-Men 97 show. I can't control that. I have no influence whatsoever over it. All I have is my own thoughts. All you can do at the end of the day is just control how you do things. So how are you going to go forward? Are you going to just completely let some sort of artificial intelligence, dictate all your conversations in the future, where you have your contacts in and you use it to formulate all your ideas? Or are you just you're gonna have ideas of your own? Think critically, rely on technology as little as you have to, and just enjoy life. You can never have too much of a good thing. That's always been true. It's always going to be true. But you know what? I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think about the future? Big Brother stepping in about where all this seems to be going. What do you think about this? Do you have the Apple? I heard that it's so expensive that people are returning it. It's just so expensive. It's kind of uncomfortable. But hey, guys, let me know what you think. And as always, guys, as I always say in every video, get out, do more, enjoy your life, have fun, okay? Don't take it too seriously. But at the same time, think critically, okay? Think about your life. Have a plan. Know where you're going. Do more. Thanks for watching. You don't have to subscribe, but if you want to, just do it, okay? Because we're going to be talking about some more stuff, okay? Like I said, I'm going to try to have these videos coming out weekly. If there's anything that you guys ever think, you know, obviously this channel's super small right now. Who knows if it'll ever grow, but if there's anything that you ever have suggestions on in the future, I'm here, I'm learning, I'm growing. It's a lifelong journey, so any suggestions you have, I'm more than open to hearing them. I'll see you in the next video.